Taihang Mountains in central China. In ancient times, 8 paths were cut through this strategic mountain range to enhance security and encourage trade. The route I'm taking is the 100-kilometer-long Biting Path. But it wasn't only traders who walked up and down this route. Emperors came here too. And I think what's most interesting is that it wasn't just a simple route. They were really considerate. And they put these horizontal slabs of rock in to prevent people from slipping, like what we have now, but only this was 3,000 years ago. Can you believe that? Even so, considerable inconvenience was associated with living among the Taihang Mountains. Eventually, folk who lived at the top of the mountains wanted out, and they took matters into their own hands. I have never seen a tunnel like this. I mean, it even has windows cut out of the mountain. And just think of the amount of labour that went into building something like this. The villagers only really had a couple of jackhammers and some mallets and chisels. And yet, just look at it. In the heart of China's central plains lies Henan province. I've headed up north to the Taihang mountain range near Huixian to explore just what kind of environment the early Chinese lived in. Hey, welcome to Henan province. You know, this is the cradle of ancient Chinese civilization, but I've come here to explore the mountains and rivers that make up this heartland, and we're going to start off by heading to the little West Gully, which is just up and over there. This place is pretty unique. Due to a lack of rivers and unpredictable weather, the northern part of the Central Plains has historically been prone to drought. But here, water is abundant and flows freely. Oh, what a beautiful day, hey? Look, the sun's out, the water's cold and crisp. We're at the entrance to the Little West Gully, and for about the next 2 to 3 kilometers we're going to make our way all the way in there along this really scenic stretch of pools and waterfalls, all of which are actually pretty rare in this part of China, and by the looks of it, pretty much got the place to ourselves. We're in luck. The Little West Gully has only recently opened to tourists. I guess that's why there are so few people around. Here the water is clean. It comes from springs in the mountains. The higher the mountain, the higher the source of water. That's why here in the Little West Gully, you'll find one of the biggest groups of waterfalls in this part of China. Alright, so you see that platform over there? We're going to head up there, and when you're standing on the platform and you look down, you can basically see the water rushing out from underneath you. Don't really know, I'm looking forward to that, but we'll see. Oh wow! The Leaping Dragon Waterfall. The big daddy of falls in this gully. Can't wait to see what it's like at its source. But there we are. This is the stairway that leads all the way up to the see-through platform. I actually asked what all that red tape is for. It's not about bureaucracy. It's actually supposed to signify success, so that with each step you take, the closer you are to success and the waterfall. Up we go. Watch your head. Yeah, I can see the platform right over there. Right. And of course I'll be helping them to clean the glass. Oh my god. I kinda don't want to go to that corner, but I will, just for your sake. Oh. Holy moly! Get a look at that! With a drop of 100 meters, the Leaping Dragon Waterfall is taller than London's Big Ben clock tower. Actually, the name of the waterfall is significant. In folklore, there's a saying that if a carp can leap over the dragon gate, it'll become a great dragon. But if it fails, it'll remain a lowly fish. Standing up here, I can't imagine the amount of courage needed to make that leap of faith. Although, to be honest, I don't think any of us would ever want to try. Well, enough giving myself a cold sweat. This is just the first of the waterfalls here. There are actually 3 more, so I'm going to go and make myself scarce. Where there are little West Gullies, you can be sure there are big West Gullies. Collectively, they're known as Baoquan, meaning treasured springs. The name was apparently given by Emperor Tianran, who visited here in the 18th century. The numerous sources of water here are all clean and safe to drink. And in Henan, China's biggest agricultural base, more than anywhere else, water is life. But it's not just us humans the Little West Gully provides for. The area, with its 95% forest coverage, is also home to Taihang macaques and other creatures that feed on its waters. The temperature changes here so much. I mean, earlier I was freezing and now I want to take this off, but the good thing about this place is we always have a bit of water to drink. It's cold. So you might not have noticed it before, but all of this sandstone is ancient. And I think what's most interesting about this place is that you can actually see where the fault line runs horizontally across the sandstone. For example, this one right here is significantly older than the one on top. But most interestingly, this whole part of Henan used to be underneath the sea. So where we're standing right now was at the bottom of the seabed. After many millions of years, everything came together to create this, a little pocket of heaven at the foot of the Taihang Mountains. But my journey is only just starting. I want to explore the environment feeding this gully, and to do that, I have to head upwards. Oh, here we are. This is the end of the Little West Gully. This place is actually still under development. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but up there is a walkway that leads up onto the top of the mountain, which will take us all the way to the Big West Gully, which we're going to tomorrow. And to the right of me is the Flying Dragon Waterfall, roughly just under 200 meters. And right over there at the top is the West Gully village. Can't wait. Coming up next, I'll discover a different kind of lifestyle at the top of the Taihang Mountains, where self-sufficiency is very much still the chosen way of life. In this episode of Travelogue, I'll head to Henan province, long known as the breadbasket of China. I'll find out how the locals live off the land and discover a mountain lifestyle that's slowly fading away. Not far from the foot of the mountain is an ancient temple, Baoquan Temple. First founded over 1,000 years ago, at the time of the Tang Dynasty. These days, it's somewhat fallen into obscurity. Still, for generations, the local people have worshipped here, and they've always done what they can to keep the place alive. Today, it still commands considerable respect here. Take this couple, for example. They've come to repay the temple, I guess for making their wishes come true. As we climb to the top of the mountain plateau, a new world opens up. One that's vast, untamed, and limitless.
Whew. Hey guys, welcome to day 2. So we're here in the big West Gully and just look around. This place is unexplored wilderness and it really is the definition of big. Holy rockamole, oh my God, would you look at this place? Woo! Woo! Oh my God, did you hear that? Talk about vast. You know, right underneath is the little West Gully that we were at yesterday. It stretches all the way in. But I mean, just look at this place. Forget about the Grand Canyon. This is what you call a canyon. Isn't that right? Yeah, exactly.
I want to see what life is like for the people living in this incredible mountain range. How do they survive? How do they get around? And has the 21st century shown any signs of catching up with them?
I swear people here aren't afraid of heights. That's probably one of the best examples of residences here, where people will go and build houses right at the edges of the cliffs of the Taihang mountain range.
I'm heading to a grand residence once owned by a wealthy local landowner. Though, admittedly, it seems to have suffered the same fate as our temple. Showing me around today is Mr. Han. He tells me everything here was built on the proceeds of the silk trade, and that the compound was once full of people. Today, only 3 families remain to keep an eye on the place.
It's all adobe. We just walk right through someone's house. 这电视还真是挺多。
那
啊，还有电脑。
给那孙女儿，给那孙女儿买了电脑。
哦，您孙女喜欢回来住吗？
The few locals that remain make a living by selling vegetables to the occasional tourist.
介绍不了，你这些人法不好。
For them, the pace of life hasn't changed much at all.
好，再见。
Thanks to these winding paths, previously isolated villages have now been put on the map. Most people get around by driving, but it's also possible to come here by bus. And that means the adventurous tourist can come here to experience a kind of life that's free from the worries of the big city.
Okay, so we're gonna grab a bite to eat first. We're at the big West Gully, but I've got to say you're a little bit hard pressed to find a restaurant if you don't speak Chinese. But just remember 2 words, 饭店, and you'll be able to find these family-run guest houses come restaurants where they'll be able to serve you the local fare.
The best part about eating up here is that everyone grows their own vegetables.
哎，从来没有自己拔过自己的菜的。
哦，怎么弄？就是拧在底部啊，拧一下，这儿，然后往上拽。
哦，That's as natural as it gets. This is going towards our lunch. 把这吃了吧。
这是红鳟鱼，这是野生山芋，这是这样的小土鸡儿。
True to form, everything we're eating today is organic. Some of it is so healthy it even doubles as medicine. Coming up next, I'm taken on a walk into the recent past as I make my way across the big West Gully and discover the ingenuity of the people that lived there long ago.
I bet you can't guess where this is. So this is actually a reservoir that's upstream of the little West Gully. But if you look down there, that is the base of a waterfall. Lucky we're here in dry season because when it's really wet, the water will overflow, come up and over the stand and head all the way there with a drop of several hundred meters. And all of this will become a huge waterfall.
Such is the power of this landscape. With all this water nourishing such fertile land, it's no wonder Henan province is called the breadbasket of China. And what better way to see it than by rafting down its waterways? Not far from the reservoir is Pingan Township, a transport and agricultural hub of sorts. It's home to an impressive collection of cultural relics, many of which would make my parents' generation very nostalgic.
Oh, this takes you back, especially for the older generation amongst us audience. This is what all of the supermarkets were like 50, 60 years ago. That's a step back in time.
1950s China, perfectly preserved.
Of course. Seems like time hasn't even changed at all in here. They're still using abacuses. And it's not even just for show. They've got abacuses all along this desk. Wow. This would be a trip down memory lane for so many people.
I can't leave empty-handed after seeing all this, but what should I buy?
我买一根线，这线是咱们这线是
你干啥用的呢？
哦，这多少钱
2块。
I don't have money.
顾票号，顾票号，这是道光年间兴起了这么个票号，所以这个地方非常繁华啊。这个票号就应运而生，这叫个绍兴银行啊，
这是一个银行，
这银行这里边的设施啊啥的，你看这个院落里边。
The people of Henan are nothing if not resourceful, and I'm glad to see this place now being lived in. This former bank once provided wealth and stability to the region, and today it's still helping the local community. Still, I can't help but wonder, what caused all this to be abandoned?
I think I've just trespassed into someone's room. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why they would have to put that there, to stop thieves like me from breaking in.
Meanwhile, the building next door has been turned into a guest house.
I quite like these rustic forms of art. These act as decoration, and you'll see them everywhere in China, but these are pretty special. I don't know if you can actually figure out what those are, but if you look closely at the one on top, doesn't it look like a dragon? Well, the top one does, but I think as you get further down, it starts morphing into a grasshopper or a worm. Interesting.
Even the 200-year-old main temple has been adapted, turned into a warehouse for corn. Perhaps it's just a sign of people moving with the times, that these venerable old buildings have been put to other uses.
Got a perfect stage for Qing Dynasty opera, Qing Dynasty performances. I guess people would bring out the chairs and they'll sit here. Look at this place, it's beautiful. It's got walls on each, the four sides. This beautiful, beautiful courtyard. Wow. Did not realise places like this still existed.
There's even an altar to the Emperor of Heaven, lovingly restored by the local residents. Just imagine how lively this place must have been back in its heyday.
Although I don't think that's actually how they used to perform. I'm not much of an actor, in case you haven't noticed, but back in the days, people would come up here dressed in their costumes and they'd put on the play for the villagers nearby. Everyone would be sitting down where you are right now. Although it doesn't happen as much these days, people still give performances here, and once in a while this courtyard will be alive with music and laughter again.
Despite their relative isolation, the fertile plateaus of the Taihang Mountains have always provided for the local population. Every acre of land here yields about 3 tons of grain. That's enough for much of what's produced to be shipped off and sold in other parts of China. Before I leave, Mr. Han is taking me to see a once prosperous village further up the hill, about a 30-minute walk from the main road.
那么好房子，人家就把这扔了这儿，然后再也不回来了。
那这儿不方便，也不来了。
可是
不热闹，不热闹。这个房子，这叫国语樟树啊，这石头是当地的岩石，揪的。你看这。
是我确实感觉这边的房子比下边的房子显得更富裕。
是呀，你看全部都是。
他们都是怎么其实哪个石头山上的？
都是山上起的，
然后自己背下来，
把它凿一凿，做上。因为这个房子漂亮。
Oh wow! I didn't expect this. When we were told that we're gonna see some houses made out of stones, I thought they would be almost primitive. But this is a mansion, and it's way better than, dare I say it, the stuff we have today. And this will last forever.
The real reason why all this was abandoned was the inconvenience. These days, survival depends on how close you are to roads, not water.
先人们为了饮水呀，从这个石头上凿的这个槽，你看这个。
Look at all this. It's so simple, but so ingenious. In a couple hundred years ago, people would build these irrigation canals that source water from up the mountains and just using gravity, bring it all the way down to irrigate their fields. And it's actually quite complex. If you can look at it here, it's almost like train tracks. There are two rails, one lower, one upper, but their end goal is to arrive here. It's ingenious. Almost feels a little bit surreal to be here. I mean, Henan is the cradle of ancient Chinese civilization, but it feels like it almost takes you back to that time when people lived amongst forests like these, ancient sandstone mountains and waterfalls that sounded like dragons when they gushed out. And you kind of feel like maybe this is what life is supposed to be. But at least it's a good place to travel to when you're sick of your skyscrapers. I'm Tianran. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Travelogue, and I'll see you again on another episode very soon.